Hello everyone on YouTube. I wanted to make this video to show what I've been working on recently here in the shed. Got lots of projects, but this is one that I want to focus on because, well, story behind this, as you might notice, this is another Quasar Great Time Machine. And I can say that, well, it's working! Story behind this, one of my Facebook buddies lives in the Bronx, and I'm in the Greater Philly area, so we're kind of, more or less close to one another, and he had some equipment that he has not gotten around to, working on yet, and he gave some to me to work on for him, so he gave me two Quasar Great Time Machines, and he gave me three U-Matics to look at too. So, what was wrong with this one? The story behind this one and a bunch of tapes. This is one of the tapes that came with this unit of his. This unit was from Long Island. It was from a teacher who used this to record programs. I guess for the students and all. This is a broadcast of a space launch. So yeah, and then this was actually free of charge. So imagine getting a free Quasar unit. It's kind of nuts. So, but what was wrong with this is that it would, immediately go into the auto stop state, and no matter what. So what I tried first, something that the guy did before he handed it off to me, the belt here for the head drum, that's not the OG belt. This is the replacement belt, and this is what the replacement belt is like. I had to do that on my first unit, which is still disassembled all the way over there. So that was the only thing he did really before it got to me. This is the underside of the unit, and you get a full appreciation, just the engineering of this absolute beast. I'm sorry. Well, I'm trying to think, because I did clean the remaining goo that was on here, just so there was no stickiness slowing anything down. What I did, you might notice if you know these machines, you might notice there's something missing, and I'll show you what that is. Most importantly, it's this little hairbrush here that originally goes there to brush the dust off the head drum belt. What I noticed is when I was trying to play this thing originally, when the auto stop wasn't stopping, there was this horrible squealing noise, and there was noise on the picture. What I found out is that the new belt was rubbing up against the new belt in such a way that it was causing that squealing noise, and that was causing vibrations that was affecting the final picture. So I removed this, and there's no more squealing, and we get a normal picture. What I did to get the auto stop to stop going is after checking, that everything was okay, mechanically, nothing was jammed up, what you do is you unplug the plug here. This is where the front panel plugs in. If you unplug that, the auto stop won't engage. So doing that and just making sure everything was fine, I replugged the auto stop plug back in, and the auto stop did not go off again. So I guess just by letting the mechanism run through its paces a couple times, it wasn't triggering the auto stop. So it's kind of interesting. For the Playback. So something I want to talk about, because this is kind of interesting. If you know, if you know this format, you more than likely know Rene Gonzalez. He did a lot of frontier work on restoring these rare units. This and like the V chord. He did make an error in describing the function of this motor. I believe in one of his videos he says this motor is used for rewind purposes. This motor is not used for rewind. This motor is used for playback. This spins, the motor spins the take-up reel, and that's what its job is. It only functions in the playback. What happened on this unit, the belt, the original belt, hardened into this. So obviously playback's not going to work if your belt looks like this, if it's dried up. So what I did first is I used this as a replacement belt. This is a generic 2mm thick belt, and while it was alright, I was getting this issue where there still wasn't clear playback. Best case scenario, you would get snow on top, but you would still get a very, snowy picture. In worst case scenario, nothing would happen at all. What I found out is that this replacement belt, the 2mm thick one, this was too thick and or too tight. So that was causing the take-up reel to not, spin fast enough to take the... someone's blasting their music. That was not causing the take-up reel to spin fast enough to pick up the tape here. Because what happens is, there's the pinch roller assembly. What can happen is that tape will spill out of there if the take-up reel is not spinning fast enough. So that was happening there, and because of that, there was no good contact with the drum, and therefore not giving us good video. So what I did was, I just used a 1mm thick belt, and just a generic one. This is not the right size, but this is, what they look like. So I used that, and as you see, it's spinning very healthy now, and giving us a very nice picture. And so my guide for, because I just used a generic, off-shelf belt, what you want to do when replacing these, how I've done it, because the playback motor here is, there's boards in the way. The 3 boards here, which I still have to figure out what each one does if I want to keep these units alive, for decades to come. So to get the motor off, the motor is held in by 2 screws. There's one there, but the other one is hidden behind this solenoid. The solenoid here engages in playback. That pushes the pulley there up against the reel here that turns the take-up reel. You have to move the solenoid out of the way. So there's a screw there, and there's a screw behind there hidden beneath wires. You can shimmy the solenoid out of the way and get to like the last screw, the second screw holding this playback motor in, and then the playback motor just shifts to the right and you can pull it out. For a good belt size, I would recommend one that basically when you put it around this pulley, there's almost like nothing like slacking off. Like it's almost like the belt is almost like tight to the pulley. That's what I used, and that's what this belt is. So you're gonna need like a, like a dental pick here. If you're into repair, you probably have one of these. You're gonna need that to like pull the belt out and wrap it around the motor shaft to really, make sure it gets on there. So that's my guide for just replacing this belt here, because other than Renee's video, I have not seen much talk about this, and this is obviously very important because that belt is going to determine whether or not you get video at all. So I did other things, once I confirmed that the electronics were good. I just gave this thing, a cleaning. Like, the pinch roller was absolutely filthy, so I, doused that with rubber renew just to clean all the filth off. I cleaned up tape path, of course, that's obvious. The switch here, where's my flash? So this switch here, which couples the signals from the audio control head, I naturally gave that a spray with deoxit because that can get dirty. In fact, before I did that, I was not getting audio at all, or just intermittently. Spraying that with deoxit, that cleared it up, and now you get really good audio on this thing. So that's going to be part of your checklist when you go through these units. Is make sure you spray that with deoxit. It doesn't. Again, I know Rene Gonzalez talked about this, but I don't think he gave the full picture. This couples the signals to and from the audio control head in both record and playback. So it's not just record where you have to clean this. This is necessary to be clean for good playback. But of course, also make sure when you're cleaning the tape path, the audio control head is clean. I don't have the cover off, otherwise I can actually show you what the tape path looks like. But there are a couple videos on YouTube, including one of mine. I don't think I made a video showing the cover off. Oh well. So another thing I want to talk about. So let's see. I talked about cleaning this and taking the hairbrush off. I talked about that. I also did lubricate the spools. Rene Gonzalez has a video on that. Again, it really didn't make a difference until I used the right belt for that. But it definitely did not hurt having done that. So I did lubricate the take up and supply reels on the machine here. The next thing, and this is like the last thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about this guy. So, how this machine does fast forwarding and rewinding. This is only for playback. See this here? That's connected to the main motor. This is for the idler for fast forward and rewind. You can just barely see it there. Well, I was going to focus on my finger, but that's all this is used for. And there's the underside of the idler tire. That tire is only used for playback and I'm sorry. What am I talking about? This tire is only used for fast forward and rewind. What can happen? I don't want to keep using the flash on my phone. What seems to happen is that this tire naturally is going to dry out with age. I mean, this is 50, we're talking like nearly 50-year-old rubber here. It is going to dry out. And given, the torque you need to, the high torque you need to get, to spin this in either fast forward or rewind, if your rubber is drying the slightest, it's not going to work. This one has all kinds of cracks. You can probably see that there. Yeah, this thing is, cracked to smithereens. So, it's naturally not going to give you a good, it's not going to be able to really do the high, speed modes. So, a temporary fix that I did was I actually inverted this, and it's going to be, I'm not going to be able to do it one-handed, but basically, just invert this so that the inside is on the outside and vice versa. Because the inside is not really affected like the outside is. So the theory is that you have at least a temporary, fix with, a good rubber surface. It only worked for a few tapes before it started to give me intermittent problems and all that. So I gave the measurement, because the guy I got this from to fix, he said that he would, just, since the machine's working, he would just buy the idler tires and he would send them my way because he knows a local supplier that should have something like this. So I gave him the measurements. The measurements, inner diameter is 25 millimeters, outer diameter is about 31 millimeters, and it's a 5 millimeter thick. So that's the diameter for the fast forward rewind idler tire here for these machines. That's going to be very helpful. So hopefully the replacements he sends me, they will work, and I can, and we can find a good solution to the rewind and fast forward problems that basically all of these units have. Ugh. I'm gonna have to hydrate soon. It's like 90 degrees out. I did want to show, so I did try, because this is the idler tire from this unit. So what I have there in the meantime is, this is a generic O-ring kit, inspired by Databit's video on it. I tried putting one of these on, and that's the current tire that's on there, and it does not work with a, under load, so with the tape in there. So don't use the a generic O-ring replacement. It looks like we are going to have to source a new proper idler tire, from the get-go. So I just have to wait for, the guy to, see what his supplier has and then send them my way so I can put them in this unit and see how it works. Hopefully, since if the dimensions are right, it should, work as new, but we'll see about that. We'll see. So, yes, I just want to, since I did a bunch of work on here, I did want to say, what I did so that, notes can be made, and so people who have these can, try them out for themselves. Again, I want to stress the importance of a good playback belt. You can just use a generic, from those kits on eBay or even Amazon. You can just use a 1 millimeter thick belt. Make sure that it's tight enough to be able to fit around the pulley very snug, to where you need a dental pick to get over the motor shaft. That's my personal recommendation, because as you see, it's giving me a good picture. There's no snow or anything, nothing creeping on top. If you have a playback picture, but you see snow basically steadily on top there, then that means your take-up torque is not high enough. So make sure that it is, basically. I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself, so I'm gonna call it soon. I've been recording for 18 minutes, but again, I feel like what I've done here is some important work that I'll have to make notes on, so that we can keep these machines alive for longer. Quasar, I gotta admit, I did not think I would have this much enjoyment looking at these units. I thought these units were going to be a nightmare, but once you know how they work, they're really kind of beautiful to deal with and all that. And yeah, down there I got the V cord there that I still need to look at. The heads snapped on those, so I do have spare heads. The trick is, getting the heads on the machine. So that's why that's taking so long, So, thank you for watching. I hope this helps in some capacity. Take care.